and welcome to this week's Adventures of the Windswift. We are still minus Sophie, who has been dragged off by work to do work things of all things, as if real life matters. It does matter.
At work.
It keeps us all going, doesn't it? Anyway, so it's just
work.
So, absolutely. And so to give us a review of last week's episode, which took us to the bowels of depravity, as well as to laying eggs.
Scum and villainy.
Scum and villainy. Greatest hive of scum and villainy is number 3. That's me. Okay, well, last week, this is what happened on the Windswift. Go and watch the last episode and you'll know. So, moving on.
Oh, guy. You don't get away from the dose of destiny.
Just splice the last video in there, just like the 2 hours.
It's a 4-hour video because 2 hours is recapping what happened last week. Yes. Okay. So last week on the Windswift, the crew left the massive citadel fortress of Lorcan Castle via Druid's sap travel, as they call it, tree travel, and made their way to Valenhall, the religious capital of Braxia, where all the religions of the world come together and have formed this mega-domed city that houses the temples of each of the gods. It was at that point that the party split themselves up, and Con and Billy, the human played by Adressai, the Cathar, and Jorik went off to the temple.
Jenny, the human.
It's
Jenny,
getting
the
complicated.
It's like levels of levels. It's a complicated.
Inceptions.
The three of them went off to the temple of
Humans
Tandas,
all
who was the god of magic and learning. And we're about to start making their investigations there as to what well, we don't know. Atramentum, on the other hand, went to the Temple of Reft, where he participated in a mass killing and is now currently sitting down basically with a blood-soaked lord of that particular temple. Reasons...
Naked.
Blood-soaked
lord.
Yeah,
Very naked.
Do you know how difficult blood is to get out of clothing? It's really, really difficult.
I know.
You're going to butcher 25 people. You know.
Saliva. It's good for blood. Anyway. Sorry, I didn't say anything.
You just need to froth too, is that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what last week's episode was all about. It was kind of taking it to the level and then going just a little bit further on. There was some helping with a crocodile giving birth, and, you know, they did that too with much aplomb. But that is where we find our heroes now, in Valenhall at the various temples.
Heroes?
With a blonde.
Yeah, well, heroes is a loose term I like to apply.
Protagonists?
Insane. Protagonists, well, yes, again, it's a matter of perspective, isn't it? All right, so, and please read Jenny's reviews that she writes in the doobly-doo below, because they are awesome, and they do a better job than I do. I did.
Oh.
I'm getting, and now I can say it, yes. So have a gander at
I don't have to make anything up, which is my weakness.
Well, unless it's a boring episode, in which case it is nice if you add in a little bit extra stuff.
Yes, I'll add some flair.
Enough of that.
You must see this. 5 reasons for.
Back to the game at hand.
Clickbait article.
Clickbait article in the video itself.
You will never believe what happened next.
It's a novel approach, especially if you
local dragons hate them.
All right, so Atramentum, you are at the top of the Temple of Reft, having just witnessed the Lord Rel Rathwin dispatch almost everybody except for yourself and the assistant, who is currently pulling a curtain aside, showing a very large indoor pool, bathing pool, washing pool, with steps all around it. There's fresh drinks that have been poured. And the Lord is basically walking towards it, gesturing that you should join him.
Yeah, no problem.
So, what brings a member of the Cabal here? I hope I'm not your mark, am I? That would be delightful if you were here to take me out. And I'd say that you've got a better endowment than I currently see for having the guts to just walk into my building just so brazenly. But perhaps that's the way that you operate. Oh, it is so delicious. Oh, are you here to kill me?
I wish.
Then let us not be unfulfilled. Let us rather indulge in these very fine wines, which a very good friend of mine has shipped up on a fairly regular basis. I believe he's a friend of yours as well.
Indeed. Mutual acquaintance, you could say.
Perhaps.
Now, I am here for a wonderful killing. The Lord Archon of the Orders.
I'm not too familiar with your orders. We never could really get a foothold in there. Not a lot of room for indulging oneself in a bunch of, I have to say it, rather anally retentive. No, that's pretty much it. That's all that I have when I think of the order.
Yes.
You are here to dispatch the head of the order. Well, that's very exciting.
The head of the order, so to say.
Yeah. I'm sure that's it's a Kabali thing, I would assume.
Yeah. Well.
So what can I do for you? You want to have sanctuary on our land when you dispatch this lord, I suppose, in which case it's granted. Bring him here, cut his head off, and I really don't care. And I'll make sure that none of the other paladins that are wandering around will certainly not smite you down for being completely evil. You must understand in Valenhold, provided that you're on our territory, of course, your activities are sanctioned by Reft.
Of course, but that is not the reason why I'm here. I wish to seek information, and if possible, some support. If perhaps you want to come with and indulge in this, I would be very happy to share.
I see what you're getting at. So who is providing him with divine protection? That is the question, he says as he downs a glass of red wine.
He is on his way here in, what was it, like a carriage?
Official Valenhold carriage, yes.
Yeah, a Bishop Valenhold carriage, and he was escorted out of the was it Temple of Thunders.
Tandas, I see. So Venkatani is housing your mark, and you want me to help you. Venkatani is very, 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 very smart and very, very, very incorruptible. The only thing that man wants slipping in between his sheets at night is a book.
How boring.
Sounds like an appetite kind of person.
Every time we meet, he doesn't even have books with pictures in them. What's the point of that?
Just shake my head. Well, lucky we are then, as he is on his way here in a carriage and not yet in Valenhold. And under the protection of the church itself.
Yes. Now, you are still in the kingdom of Brunei, so anything that you do outside of the walls of Valenhold are beholden to the laws of Brunei, and Brunei does not yet worship Reft, which means that killing a man in cold blood is still murder. And they'll probably drag you off to Daide or some other boring city where they'll execute you.
True.
So,
but that assumes that I get caught. Or we get caught.
It's easier to arrange a little murder inside Valenhold than outside Valenhold.
Well, that is the reason why I'm here, to bow to your infinite wisdom, of course. And I just smile.
You're a soul assassin, aren't you? You go around making sure that people don't come back.
Sure.
I'll help you take out Dengathwin if you help me to remove a little thorn in my side.
Thorns are so uncomfortable.
I couldn't agree more, especially if they're being used when you don't want them to be used. You see, I have somebody that I think will be able to rule this little political miasma of thought a lot better than the current incumbent. And it would greatly delight me if you would remove the current incumbent.
So it would be disposed?
Yes, only you must understand that he is technically the representative of all the gods here on Braxia. So making sure that he doesn't come back is particularly problematic.
I can see that.
Yes, there is a way, of course. It's not exactly easy, and if you get caught, you will be sent to the furthest hells that these ponces can possibly send you. But then again, how many assassins will get to claim that they took out the leader of the religious spirit of Braxia?
And if I might keep his soul, I'm sure it would fetch quite a price.
Oh, whomever to which you sell the souls will be particularly happy to have his. I hear Spoth is not particularly liked in amongst the circles of the lower demons, or whoever it is that you sell them to. So, I help you, you help me.
A deal well struck, I'd say.
Good. Back to the three of you, or four of you. I don't know what the psychosis is between Adresi and Billy, but
it's a mask.
the mask. I have many masks. I have masks for masks.
Given that we know how he's traveling and how long it was since he set off, what would be a reasonable guesstimate of his arrival time?
About a week.
From now.
Oh. Well,
so we've got a week until he's due to arrive.
Well, first thing, we could go throw some gold around at the sort of goods entrance.
Oh.
No, gods. The goods entrance of the temple and see if they're expecting any carriages or if any has arrived.
I don't know. Bribing temple staff is tricky. But I do.
Well, I mean, they hire people. They're not necessarily, devout just because they know how to hoist a crate.
Perhaps if you were to find a particularly chatty librarian, but then I don't know. No, I think it's a good idea. Just be careful about being too quick to offer bribes. If you can get them to just talk, you're a sociable person, Adresi.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I'm not good at the whole lying thing. Then again, now that I don't have a tail, maybe that's easier.
You both notice that she's quietly wagging her hips from side to side. Or Adresi is quietly wagging their hips from side to side.
Since it's currently Billy.
Yes.
Yes, Billy is sort of weighing on his feet, sort of back and forth.
Just be careful with that. You might attract the wrong sort of attention.
What's the right sort of attention?
Well, you might get some offers you're not expecting, at any rate.
No, true. I'm not sure what Billy's
temple grounds. My initial idea, what do you guys think, is we do a bit of a recce around the temple, get a lay of the land, and what's sort of public domain, where the restricted areas are, and where we might get into them unobserved.
Yes.
All right, I'll have a look around the library area.
Try out casual.
I'm very casual. Billy's a very casual human person.
So, Billy, you're going to head off into the library, leaving Jarek. And Con and Jarek, you watch as Billy, there's no other word for it, minces with grace into the library as this young 13-year-old human.
Not that young.
Well, you're only that high, so.
Well, I can alter. I'm pretty sure I can alter like my height but not my size. Like I'm short, but I'm like still technically an adult.
You use what, alter self?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's definitely you. It's like
Yeah, including your height, weight, facial
is he
features,
walking
sound of
on
your
his
voice.
tiptoes. He's walking on his
No.
tiptoes, isn't he?
No, Guy, you're making character decisions here that I'm not okay with.
Andrew sighs. Well, because cats walk on their paws, right? Which is
Yeah, that's
on the tips of their
true.
toes.
That's true.
Nonetheless,
Yes.
you watch as Billy
It is an
heads
odd sort.
into the temple. Where are the two of you going?
Streets.
You're hitting the streets?
Red.
We're going to have a look at all the areas that say suddenly flashes up on the screen and says restricted area, and then walk slowly backwards again.
I mean, when your screen goes red, you're like,
Yes.
You're leaving the area, return to the zone.
Yes.
Exactly.
Con?
return to the mission area.
Patrolling. Yeah, I'm just going to do a recce of the temple.
All right. Okay. So that's what's happening there. Atramentum, once you've sort of signed your deal with the with Reft, you're free to go or stay and indulge if you want. But he assumes that you're wanting to go and do something else.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I'll get his number, basically, right? I mean, that's kind of the idea. So let me just summarize what we spoke about here, just to be sure we're on the same page.
Right.
So he says, don't attack him on the outside, wait for him to get inside the city.
Yes.
Okay.
He will help facilitate giving you access to the Lord Archon once he's inside Valenhold before he gets to the Temple of Tandas.
Right.
In exchange, you need to go and assassinate
Sure.
Boss.
That's fine with me. So he is also going to give us support in terms of what's at his disposal, presumably maybe even himself.
In terms of the Lord Archon?
Mm-hmm.
I
asked him directly, right? I mean,
yes. So in terms of taking out the Lord Archon, it can't be seen that the Temple of Reft was actively involved.
Okay. So then I would instead ask for like implements of death and destruction.
Safe house, probably somewhere to take him.
First I want to kill him and I worry about the other stuff later. But like stuff that helps me murderize, death, and kill.
MDK.
Yeah, MDK, man.
And poison? Always effective?
And I kind of say like, well, he's a powerful caster, kind of need maybe something against that specifically so we don't run into the Gatling gun of doom and death. Right?
Again?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry.
I have the character specifically is like
there is an artifact which they can lend you, but they do need it back. The only problem is that it can't get within 10 feet of any paladins.
That's a problem in the city?
Yes, only once it's exposed.
Sure.
So if you can get inside the carriage, then you could use that, and that will nullify any magic that you might have.
Sure. And maybe as well, he can give me maybe like a wand or whatever of silence. Obviously, that's like a little bit less and maybe a little bit easier. But
I don't think audio is a major problem in this town. Besides, I have a plan for how you're going to get into the carriage.
Sure. If that's the case, then that's great.
In which case, sound won't be a problem. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, metagaming-wise, I want to be a little bit prepared for it, right? And, like, if he can give me anything in that direction, I'm happily to take whatever he might offer. And then, speaking about Lord Spoth himself, obviously, then we need to talk about details, how we're going to go do this afterwards. But that's, I guess, an adventure for another day.
But not a debt. All right. What are you going to do after that?
I'm going to go out to the streets. I'm going to go, I guess, I mean, we didn't speak about it, but I assume I kind of at least know direction where they're going to take it. And I'm just going to do find object, and I'm going to find object, and I'm going to zoom in, like I'm going to hone in on Con's staff and just seek them out. All right.
Okay, not a problem. Okie dokie. In which case,
I mean, this character is specifically set up to be able to find people.
Yep.
That's like some of the abilities that I chose that he's able to do. Like,
you wander for 3 weeks.
I hope not. I need to get in within 1,000 feet of him, so I have like a little bit of
That's all right. They're doing all sorts of interesting things as well.
So then I would just venture up to them and
correct.
say, "Yo,
correct.
What up?"
Correct. Okay, I think this is a skill challenge if ever there was one. So we can move through this fairly quickly. And you guys are all at level now, so that's where it is there. Okay, so from one of you, please, I need a persuasion check as you start to discuss and talk your way around the city to try and gather information.
Sure. How about 21?
How about 21? How about a success? Absolutely a success. You need 4 successes before 2 failures because it's quite tricky to get the information that you are after. Investigators up next as research is being done. Jorik steps forward and goes, "But, my dear,
25.
You see, there are stars above us, and that means our tent has been stolen." Okay, insight then for...
That's a 25. Like a 24 doesn't give you this.
No.
I don't notice anything.
22.
22
wow.
with insight. You realize that
No pressure, Jenny.
questioning the groom who looks after the horses is more likely to get you information than questioning the man in charge of the gate. The man in charge of the gate is naturally suspicious, whereas the groom likes to deal with horses. And if it's one thing that you know, it's animals. And so a conversation is struck up to discover your information. And that leaves Adrasai with the last skill that needs to be passed, and that's a charisma check.
Oh, God. Why?
-3.
A natural 1. All right, so Billy tries to talk to the librarian. Perhaps Adrasai forgets that they are now a human male, and so the swishing of the tail, the batting of the eyelids does not go down so well with the librarian as perhaps it would with normal Cathar performance. I'm not sure. One way or another, you did not leave a good impression on the priest of Tandas.
No.
It was just like with the coke where they are.
That means that we then...
I tried to suggestively eat a banana, but it didn't work.
It didn't work. The priest got mildly uncomfortable and changed it. So from any one of the 4 of you, I now need a perception check, please. Anyone?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
26, natural 20.
Natural 20. There we go. That completely obliterates
Oh, goodness.
natural 1. And at the end of the day, it was a fairly lengthy day, but you have discovered that the carriage that will be...
It's on its way. Next day, we're going to do it again.
Well, here's the curious thing. So the carriage is definitely still inbound and is expected to arrive within 5 days. It is an unusual dispatch for Tandas because they don't often get stuff coming from Lorcan Castle. Well, at least they didn't. But now they've had a bloody dispatch once a month for the last 6 months. And it's always in one of these, Valen Hold wagons, which between you, the groom, and the librarian is a little bit strange. What you discover as well is that the librarians have all been restricted. They're no longer allowed to go into, it's a restricted zone, but normally the librarians are allowed to go in there anyway. They've all been locked out, except for the head librarian, who's not telling them why.
Kind of we have agenda, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know what that is.
He has been checking in a lot of books recently, and they know that they weren't purchased from their usual sellers because, well, they're the ones that usually do the purchasing. The other thing that comes to light is that...
So just let me, as a reminder real quick, the book that was talked about in the letters I stole was... Yeah. So this book was presumably here, and the other one wants to buy it, or was it the other way around?
The Lord Belgan was spending a fortune buying...
Belgan is?
Lord Belgan.
The one that I stole
The
from.
one in Lorcan Castle.
In Lorcan Castle, correct.
Okay.
He was spending a fortune buying books which now, according to your sources, were being shipped up here for some reason.
Right.
You also know for a fact,
but I don't know where the book is. Right. The book, I don't know where it is. It's just like, okay, the expensive books that were bought are probably here in this area.
Correct.
Okay.
Atramentum doesn't know where the Talbracar is, but the three of you do, because you were told that by the elf from the library of.
Yeah.
There wasn't Belmold.
Yeah.
Correct.
But Adrosai's friend. Yeah.
Correct.
My drinking buddy.
Yeah, sure.
Did you two tell us about all the notes that you found in Lorcan Castle?
I believe it was a debriefing that happened.
I think me and Atramentum went through them, didn't we?
Yeah, we both went through them. I assume
you went through them at like a pub or something.
But I wouldn't have told you, but I I mean, Yorick knows everything that I know because I didn't really try to hide anything from him. Mm-hmm. So just assume that he shared the stuff with you, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yorick, whilst all of this is going on and you're sort of helping Con with the groom and those sort of things, a rather beautiful young woman sidles up to you and she says, "I'm awfully sorry to interrupt your thoughts, good sir, but I couldn't help but notice that you strike me as being someone who's not necessarily from here."
Well, I'm an elf, and this is human.
Yes,
country.
but you're not an elf from the Empire, and you're definitely not Sajeti.
Hey, speak Sajeti, if that's what you're asking.
Well, that is telling that you speak Sajeti.
Yes, no, you're correct.
Don't look like you eat other people, so that means you're clearly not from the northern forests.
How do you know I don't eat people?
Your teeth, she says.
Oh, there is magic for that stuff. But anyway, what's your point?
My point is that you might come from somewhere where you shouldn't. And if you do come from somewhere where you shouldn't, I would be very interested in hearing what it is that you know about a place that you shouldn't have come from.
It sucks.
Pay a significant amount of money, as a matter of fact, for any information that you might have about that place that you definitely didn't come from, because otherwise...
Yes, you shall not be named.
Would you happen to know of any nice taverns around?
I know of several very nice taverns around, and I'd be happy to take you to dinner, she says, smashing you a smile.
Smashing your face? Sorry.
Sure, why not? Is Con within...
Yeah, he's busy chatting with the groomsman who's busy sort of stroking down a very nice horse.
Yeah, I throw him a quick mental message. I say, I'm heading off to track something down.
So is this a day later, or is this within the first day?
Same day.
Okay, so I'm not there yet.
Not yet, no. You will arrive just as Jorik leaves. Okay. So, yes, that you head off with this young lady. She looks as she's walking and she says, "I don't believe in keeping secrets. Well, not the useless ones anyway. My name is Elbrith," she says. She has very dark hair and these beautiful dark eyes. And
is it Elbrith?
Elbrith.
Yeah, she's human.
Lovely there.
Is she, though?
Yeah, well, who knows?
That's what I introduce myself as.
That's what you introduce yourself as? Give me a deception check.
Do I need to, that is my name.
She looks at you and she goes...
17.
All right. I accept that.
I mean, most people don't know me by that name, but that is my name.
Interesting. Come with me, she says as she leads you down several alleyways towards...
in this dark alleyway.
in this dark and foreboding alleyway. It's really nice on the other side. You should see what they've done with it. So that's where you head off. Con, you've got the information that you were seeking, or is there anything else that you want to know?
What part of the horse is he stroking?
Dude.
Really?
Yes, really.
Oh, my lord. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much covers it from my side. That was all the information. Monthly dispatches from Lorcan. Unusual.
That's hard to get.
There's a restricted zone all the librarians are banned from.
It's hard to get, yeah.
Correct. Anything else that you're looking to get?
Wagon expected within.
The wagon is expected, correct.
Any other sort of, besides that, any other sort of unusual activity around the temple in recent days?
In recent days?
Specifically in the last sort of week or so.
Well, I wouldn't be one to say very much, says the groomsman. You've joined all of the groomsmen sitting in the back of the stable yard. They've taken a bit of a break and they're sort of handing around a stiff drink and a cigarette's kind of going around. They sort of look at you and they go, well, between you, me, and these 4 walls and those 5 horses over there, when you say unusual goings on, I mean, do you mean with the obnobs themselves or sort of more local?
Well, anything. I mean, I don't know about you fellows, but lately this seems like everything's just going quite chaotic.
Quite chaotic? You weren't here 2 days ago, were you?
No, we're freshly arrived.
Oh. Well, if you want quite unusual, how about the High Lord being kicked out on his arse from the Temple of Tandas? That's pretty unusual. Yeah, to see that, the big knob being kicked out by our Lord. Well, I don't think our Lord's going to be in power much longer, if you take my meaning. Venkartani might know a thing or two, but what he doesn't know is you don't kick out the High Lord. Well, he wasn't really kicked out. I say kicked out on his arse, but put it this way, we know that when a private carriage is called for, unexpected like, and an hour early than it should have been called for, that harsh words were exchanged between those two. You mark my words, that's definitely something that's happened there. That's unusual, I would say.
Well, certainly fits the pattern of the general political upheaval that seems to be spreading. War, there's war with the elves and the.
Oh no, we heard about Howden Lee. Oh, all the horses are talking about it. You can't stop them talking about it. It's quite an event, actually. They've actually requested to join Brunei, if you believe that. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, that would be odd.
I'd say, but I'd be bloody terrified if I was them. You heard what happened, of course.
No, been at sea.
You're in for a treat. Only the Lord, what's his name? That fellow, Lord, was it Grantham? I forget the name now. Anyway, whoever the big bloke is who was in charge of Howden, he only attacked the Drow Republic, full-scale invasion of their cities underneath his main city. I mean, it was daft. Blew the whole thing up from what we hear. Sky high, also, they say. Nonetheless, everyone's waiting to see what the Republic does. It's not going to be good, whatever it is. I mean, you don't just attack the Drow.
Blew up a city.
No, that's what they're saying.
Well, that happened in Quethlin, I hear.
I haven't heard anything from Quethlin. I know the sea routes are shut down. Horses are being worked dead on their feet because of all the cargo they've got to now haul manually up and down. Everything's been slowed down. Or you should hear the toffs complain. Where's my wine? Why is my wine not arrived on time? We can't complete the sacrament without the wine. We need the this. We need the that. Oh, just bloody hell, use grape juice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just crazy what they're making us do with these poor bloody horses. So, hi.
Lots of wine. Big ceremony coming up.
Oh, yeah. There's a, what do they call it? A lunar alignment or something. I don't know. Most of their bloody gods worship some kind of great cataclysmic event when it's a moon turned red or something stupid. That's coming up. Always a big celebration. But then again, mind you, these blokes, they'll celebrate anything. Oh, I got out of bed. Throw a celebration to worship the rising of a god. Oh, I went and shat myself. Oh, let's do a celebration to the cycle of nights, or I don't know. Yeah, it's all these religious types. You know, it's what they do. I suppose, really. Can't complain, though. It keeps us in business. Yes, it does. Absolutely. If they weren't here, we wouldn't be here. That's right. Can't say we can't complain. Wait. Anyway, that's the sort of the extent of the information you managed to get on. Eventually, Atramentum arrives, and they all sort of give him a look over. Sorry, you had another question?
No, I was just going to say, gentlemen, thank you very much for the drink. I must get on.
Oh, Sean, thanks for pointing out that horse is going to go lame in a couple of days. I wouldn't have picked it up myself. And I'm a hoof man. I know my hooves. You got a sharp eye there, bloke.
Well, horses are my thing.
Right, you are. Atramentum arrives, so the two of you pair up. Adressai, are you trying to get any more information out of the library?
I want to figure out where this sort of sealed off section is. Sort of where in the building is it? Does it have, windows, openings? Like how is it sealed off, kind of?
You chat to a couple people, and you don't find any luck with the actual priests themselves, the librarians.
Doesn't it just need to move around and just like, hey, you can't move any further? I mean,
it's like you're trying each door. It's like, no, that's for staff only. Oh,
sorry. Open a door, yell. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, it's not that one.
What's the toilet? Whoops.
As a matter of fact, you bump into a young scholar who's busy researching on the trade that used to exist between the Brunei and the Gnomish states 200 years ago. It was known as the Short Order, which didn't last long, obviously. But yes, he's doing research on that. And he bumps into you and he goes, you're chatting to him and you say, where's the restricted area? Oh, well, I've been there before. It's over there. And he sort of points, and at the very bottom of the library, there are these large double doors that are very prominent with two statues of Tandas on either side. It's through there, but there's like 5 different areas that are restricted. So
really?
Know which one you're going. Well, yes, there's one for divinity, there's one for magic, there's obviously, there's one for knowledge, and then there's 2 other ones which are like special interest books, mostly demonology and the nature of divine influence and that sort of thing. I was dabbling once and doing some research into the origin of magic, but yeah, it was pretty.
It is a little fuzzy the further back you get, doesn't it?
Well, yes.
Books get more abstract.
Well, yes, you can only go back 300 years, which doesn't help. So, I got hold of this bunch of people. What are they called? The Hari, the Humanari. There's some entity that the librarians told me to get to try and request information on magic before the time of the dragons.
Oh.
And they just flatly said no. So, well, screw you too, mate.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? I've been trying to do a paper last year. Impossible. I feel you.
Right. So,
I heard that they've been like super sealing off the restricted area, though. That it's extra restricted these days. Not only that librarians get in.
Oh yeah. No. I don't know why.
Why?
I think they're moving the books.
Really?
Yeah,
Moving
I
them?
don't know where. I suspect they might. I think the elves want them. The elves want all the books. But
Don't the elves have their own books?
Well, yes, but they're elves. They want everything, right? They've
I
got lots of
guess.
time on their hands, so they can just read.
Yeah, I know, right? Not like as humans say.
No, not like us humans, he says, sort of looking a little bit weird. Anyway, I think they're moving the books out of Tandas's libraries here, and I don't think they want anyone to know. I mean, can you imagine if the Tandas library in Valenhall no longer contained books that were actually useful?
I know, that'd be weird. I mean, that's why it sounds so odd, right?
Correct.
But I mean, it would explain why they don't let anyone in.
Yeah, I know.
But why would they be moving them, though? Like, why now?
It's a good question. I don't know. But I can tell you how they're going to get them out.
Oh, yeah? How?
I figured it out.
Yeah? What? How?
There's a chute.
A chute?
Yep.
Like a book chute?
He kind of pulls you over to a corner and he goes through his pile of books and he gets to one pile because he's got his collection and he pulls it out and you see he opens it up and he slips his fingers in between the binding at the back of the spine and he pulls out this sheet of paper which he then unfurls very secretively inside the book. And it's a very rough sketch of the temple. And you can see the main library hall, and then inside of that you can see this corridor drawn off of it with these 5 chambers. And he points to those chambers like those are the secret compartments. Now, there was a theory that was going around that those compartments were airtight. But
yeah, to preserve the books, right?
Okay, that's a good theory. I'm going to tell them that at the next meeting. Didn't think about that. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, because the less things touching the books. I mean, you don't want, like, weird temperature changes or smoke coming in or stuff like that, right?
But
yeah,
my friend Gand, who's been looking into this whole thing, he reckons that we saw that they were using a certain type of wax for lighting in the chandeliers, which we then tracked down. And then Mem told us that wax you can only get if you import it from the Gnomish states of Hickwin, and it requires fresh air in order to burn, but it doesn't burn with smoke, so it doesn't get on the books. That means there must be a chute.
Yeah, like an air vent.
Correct.
Nice.
Exactly.
So you got a whole sleuthing group.
We're not a group. We're a movement.
Oh, sorry. What kind of movement?
We're going to change the libraries forever.
What? How?
We're going to release information to everyone on the planet.
To, like, make information available to everyone who wants it?
Why should it be restricted to just these temples and just the libraries? We need to...
I know.
Every single person in the Brax can have access to what's in these books.
I know. It's like they're creating an information elite, right?
Exactly. Restriction of education to the masses is causing a downtrodden economy based on ignorance. And Ostelmar claims that we can absolutely have an intellectual revolution where it's the ones that have got the smarts that are in charge rather than the ones that have got the swords or the magic in charge.
Yeah, I mean, intelligent people should make the decisions, right? Yes. And you need to educate everyone to figure out who has the best ideas, right?
Or stop the education.
Huh?
Not everyone can read, and that's not their fault. That's the fault of the oppressive government.
No.
But those that can then have access to the information, so that creates an elitist form of educated person, which we can't account for because the ones that are not educated can't afford to go to universities, which are important for making sure that we have an educated population. So if we get rid of the things that the universities are educating the elitists on, then that means that everyone will be educated on the same thing if it's free.
So do you want to get a hold of these books that they're moving out to disseminate them to the people?
We want to get hold of the books that they're moving out so that we can burn them. That way the information's gone and then no one has elite power. He sort of steps back and he looks at you with this look of authority.
I sort of do a very thoughtful nod, sort of. Could I
inside adversary screaming loudly?
Kill this man.
Do you think I could like tag along to one of your movement meetings at some point? Sounds really electrifying, energizing.
If you'd used any other word, I would have said no. But electrifying is what we need to do. We need to make sure that people realize that education is important.
Yes. Do you want to know a secret? I taught myself how to read.
That's the kind of person we need in the order. You see, that is the way that you do it. And I bet you didn't use any books to do it with either. None of that elitist nonsense that they try and fill your brains with. Yes.
Yes, no. I wrote in sand.
That's bold. I like that because sand, everyone has access to sand. That's going to be access to our...
And you can erase it afterwards as well. You just run your hand over it and it's gone.
I see great things for you, Billy. Great.
Thank you.
No more deceiving of the people. Honesty, openness, and bearing our souls is what's ordered.
Yes. Sameness, equality of knowledge is equality of power.
Yes, you get us.
Yes.
I knew when I saw you walking across the corridor, you were different.
You know, I am different, but so are you. That's why I came to talk to you, because I could see that you had the soul of someone who wanted to get things done and who wanted to change things.
Yes. Good. Right. So, we happen to have a meeting tonight. It's at Erin's place.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where that is.
All right, meet me here, just before they close, 11th bell,
right.
And we'll go to Erin's place. And you bring the idea of writing in the sand, because that is genius.
Yeah, of course. I'll meet you there. Shake his hand. What's your name again? I don't think you told me.
Oh, I've chosen not to choose names because that labels us and creates elitist divisions. So you can call me
Can I still be Billy?
For now, but I think you'll change your mind later on.
Yes. Maybe I'll be B.
It's bold. And it certainly doesn't class you as anything except for B.
That's true. I'll meet you later.
All right, Lee. He sort of nods and gives you a twitch, and then he heads off.
And walk away.
You are following this lady.
Can I kill him?
Yes, please. We can do it together as a
Andrew and I will be standing there, slicing throats, going, "There's your uneducation."
I will kill you with paper cuts. Deservedly slow.
You enter into a territory, Jorik, that immediately reveals the nature of the person that you have met. This is the temple of
20 armed people, right?
No. As a matter of fact, it's almost deserted. There's shadows everywhere. There's sort of people moving around very quietly. And she takes you to a tavern, and the tavern is remarkably empty as well. But it's also built in a very strange way. Unlike having a common room where there's lots of tables and chairs for people to commingle with, there are lots of alcoves with very heavy curtains over the entrance to them. The ones that are not occupied, the curtains are pulled back, and you can see these very comfortable chairs and things within them. As you step in, this rather strange creature approaches you. You think that they are living because they have pink skin and they move sort of like a human, but their eyes, they don't have any eyes. They just have these healed over eye sockets. And when they stand in front of you, you realize that their ears are no longer there either. And they don't talk to you because you're not sure why they don't talk to you. Your companion looks and she says, 2 people. She looks to you. Will you have anything to drink?
A flagon of mead would be nice.
Bold. Very well. A flagon of mead for my companion here. The figure turns and shuffles back towards the bar. You notice several other helpers around, all in exactly the same style. No eyes, no ears, and their mouths shut as they very silently go about their business of keeping the place clean. She leads you to a small alcove. Inside, she pulls the curtains shut, and there is several candles around that illuminate. You are welcome to any magic you choose to cast here, but you'll find that we're quite alone.
All right. You're very careful for someone who just wants information.
It pays to be careful.
True.
So, you are willing to tell me what is happening in Drakenmore?
Well, that depends on what you mean by what's happening in Drakenmore. Drakenmore has been happening for many years.
That's a pity, but I would like to know how you got out of Drakenmore. After all, technically you should have been arrested at the border and then, from what I understand, eaten.
Yes, this is true. I have my ways to get out of and in to Drakenmore.
You can get back in.
Yes, you see, if you do it in the right places, you only need to walk. They can't keep track on everywhere.
So how much is it going to cost me to learn of these right places?
Well, first I would like to know some more about you. Why are you so interested in Drakenmore? It's a rather dull place, to be honest.
Of course it's a rather dull place. Everywhere is a rather dull place, if you think about it. I am in the interest of being interested in others. And when I saw you, I knew that you were an interesting person. Now that I know that you know how to get in and out of Drakenmore, that is particularly interesting. And I'm particularly interested in paying you for that information.
I see. How did you recognize me being from Drakenmore, by the way?
It was a guess. You'd be surprised at how many elves I've played that on and only found you, as a matter of fact, who responded in such a way that made me think perhaps I was on the right trail.
It's an unusual game to play, considering basically no one gets out of Drakenmore, so your chance of success would be infinitesimally small.
But they paid off.
True.
To be perfectly honest with you, I use it as an opening line. Elves from Athane Vasul are particularly logical and cold. Elves that have grown up here in Brunei are usually offish and confrontational. You didn't strike me as being cannibalistic, and you certainly don't look like you're from Sajet, so I took a chance. But even those that are logical, when I turn to them and ask them if they're from Velenhold, it reveals to me their reason for being here, even if it is a logical response of, it is unlikely that I'm from Velenhold.
I see. Anyway, see, there is this thing. I'm interested in certain parts of Drakkenmore myself. How much do you know about Drakkenmore? Perhaps we could...
heard about our great twin goddesses, Kalasi.
Sounds familiar, yes.
They're the goddess of secrets. If you want to know more about Drakkenmore, I'm sure I can find out in exchange for those locations that you spoke about.
And how do I know you will honor your word? No offense.
Same way that I know you'll honor those locations as being accurate. That's the beauty of secrets, isn't it?
Fair enough. You have a point. Anyway, the best place to get in and out of Drakkenmore without being caught is near Valdivansk, the Dvovost Mountains. It is a hellish landscape. It is not easy to traverse. And there is no people there, neither living nor dead. As long as you stay away from the obvious pass down into the Sajeti Desert, you should be able to pass in and out relatively unnoticeable. That is the way I took.
Well, I had expected to have to wine and dine you and then seduce you to get that information, but you've given it to me relatively easily. You must be pretty desperate for information on Drakkenmore. What is it that you want to know?
The Duke of Ulkov, the current one.
Yes?
He... I want to know where his primary estate is, where his resting place is, and if you happen to know his manpower, so to speak.
That's 3 things. I only asked you 1.
Indeed. But you could see it as one thing. I want to know things about the Duke of Ulkov. That's one thing.
I will have to go and ask around and see if anyone knows those things. Don't expect a huge amount of information back. But I will try. Ulkov, you say?
And I mean the current Duke of Ulkov. The other one I've already dispatched.
We only deal in secrets that are relevant for today. I will find you in 2 days' time here, yes?
Sure.
In which case, then, enjoy your ale, unless you want company.
It's always nice to have a conversational partner. Unless you're busy elsewhere.
No, in that case, she starts to get a little bit more comfortable in the booth, and the conversations start to flow backwards and forwards about all sorts of things that she found interesting and that you find interesting, perhaps, about things. But you do notice quite obviously that she's not abusing the conversation. She doesn't seem to be probing specifically. She's just letting it flow as if it was a natural, as if you were on a date, as a matter of fact, more than anything else. She had a lonely childhood and got taken by the temple and so forth. Those kinds of things. Harmless little revelations about oneself.
Yeah, I don't try to abuse the conversation either, because quite frankly, there's not much more than what he asked for that Jorik needs to know.
All right.
So mostly just conversational to see if she's interested in knowing anything more, or otherwise I'll finish my mead and then thank for the company and leave.
And rejoin with Con and company. All right. Okay.
Yeah, if I can find them.
Yeah. Atramentum, you and Con have now got together. And Jorik will join in at some point. And eventually Billy will come scurrying up to join you. So as luck would have it, by about 4th bell in the afternoon, the 4 of you are reunited. Are you heading anywhere particular?
Well,
I don't know about you, but I'm famished.
Yeah, we should have food. I have some interesting information.
Can we wait until we get somewhere before we divulge that information?
No, I was just telling you that I have it. I wasn't going to tell you right here and now.
I also have information that I'm also not going to tell you.
At all?
I think we all have something to add to the conversation. Let's find ourselves a secluded spot to have a meal. And
How about the brothel?
I know a place.
You know a brothel already?
Of course. First thing that I visited, actually.
All right, well.
Fine.
A brothel it is.
Lead
As long
on.
as there's a bed I can sleep in.
Oh, that's all right.
As long as there's a private corner we can discuss things.
Yes, just some food and some...
And good food. Good food.
Always good food at good brothels.
So I'm heading, but we're heading back basically to the district that I just came from.
Sure.
And once I get in, I just make a name drop to that we want to be kept alone, kind of thing.
Sure. You are shown in. It's quite well maintained, obviously, as this parlor of excess, and anything that you desire is available for the right coin. So you want a quiet room, you get a quiet room. You want meal, they are a little bit regretful that some of the more exotic stuff, most of the seafood is no longer available, owing to a delivery issue that's currently being experienced.
Well, that's fine.
And other than that, you get access to everything. So eventually the 4 of you find yourselves well fed and watered in a private chamber.
Right.
Well,
Nice.
let's share. I share.
It's like a trading card
That's
share.
an
It's like, I've got...
That's a interesting thing to say in an establishment such as this, but
All
sure.
right, so are you guys going to share all the information that you found out?
Including the ceremony.
How was your day, Atramentum?
What are you doing there? Nothing.
Yeah, some religious ceremonies, boring stuff.
Yeah, just church things.
Church things.
Yes.
So I say that I have gotten us an ally that will give us a place and time of an opportunity to get to the God Archon when he arrives.
Brilliant.
That's very handy.
Oh.
Excellent.
It escapes us having to somehow infiltrate the temple. So,
It does.
No, it doesn't.
oh,
The idea is to get him before he gets to the temple.
yes. that's
Good.
what I mean.
That said, you are still okay with us questioning this person before you kill him, right?
Yeah, it's really rather important we have the opportunity to have a conversation.
There will be times we can. There will be better times we can question him once I'm done with him. Yes.
Wait, after you're done with him, we could talk to him then?
Yes.
Because I've got the impression that your business with him was rather final.
Oh yes.
Deal in the arts of necromancy as well, then, do you?
No necromancy. That is such a crude art.
Call it what you will, but it sounds to me like you're suggesting that we will be speaking with him after he's dead.
Oh, yes.
Ooh,
You
like
can
a
guarantee that we'll be
song.
able to get useful information from him.
Oh, yes.
Well, perfect. I'm
Thanks.
willing to take that on faith.
That's handy. It's real handy.
You're so handy. Is there any chance after this is done that we could hire you to continue helping us in this?
Well, funny that you mentioned that. There is another job that needs to be done here in the city, and I might need your help in that. It would immeasurably make it. It would make it immeasurably more easy.
What job is this?
What job is this, indeed?
In a place like this, favors costs. And as they say, manus manum lavat, one hand washes the other, yes?
Perhaps in your
So-
world.
There is someone else I would like to meet very much.
And who is this hand?
Is it Soth, right? That's what it's called?
Spoth.
Spoth.
Spoth. Lord Spoth.
He sounds
We wanna
familiar,
talk to
doesn't he?
him actually as well. He was the person who was the
Great.
focus of the ritual that banished the dragons, or
That
didn't.
fits very well then. All right.
Yes, we could absolutely collaborate on that.
The High Lord Spoth and High Priest Venkatani had a rather public falling out,
Did they?
They did?
apparently.
Oh yeah, we definitely want to talk to this person. Right.
It's a little handy.
Very, very interesting. I mean, terrifying, considering that these are probably two of the most powerful people in Valenhold that we're going after, but, we're definitely in a target-rich environment here, which is nice.
Oh, if you want targets, just open the doors, and I am sure there will be most targets available
Yeah, I
for
mean,
you to hit on.
throw a rock and we'll hit someone we want to kill, I think, at this
Sure.
point. Interestingly enough, the whole information you found in Lorcan Castle about the book transfers?
I just throw Yorick and glance. Sure.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I believe that one of the book that the priest in Lorcan Castle was after was one of the books, one of the ones that exist in Valenhold. And if that book is indeed eligible to be traded by Venkatani, which is here, then it is likely in the library, which has recently gotten an extremely sealed off section, which nobody is allowed to enter, which is very interesting. And this is a book that we don't necessarily want to use, but we definitely want them to be unable to use it.
So just metagaming here. I actually came to another conclusion as a player. I actually came to the conclusion that the book is not in the temple, but it is the books that they want to buy the book with.
Well, the Lorcan Castle priest was the one who wanted to buy the book, right?
From Valenhold.
But the books are...
They have been transported here.
Yes.
Yeah. But
So the assumption is that the books are holed up here because of the transaction and not because the other books
I just got the feeling that the book, the Tal Brakar, is still in Valenhold because
Valenhold, yes, but I don't think it's in the temple. I think it's with Lord Spoth. That's my personal...
that's fine. But
I think it is. And that might be actually the reason why they kind of...
that was my... And then I heard about the whole sealed off library part, and it just that might be an interesting place to check. But
No, I'm just saying, as a player, so we that's where I kind of got with information.
No, I got you.
That's why I wanted to share this. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I encountered some hilariously out of touch people that I'm not sure should still be alive afterwards, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure they seem like the types that will arrange that themselves sooner or later. It's some kind of group who wants to burn whatever is in there. However, they seem to actually have some good information and seem to have scouted out these rooms already. And it's quite possible that we could use them to gain access. I mean, if we have a few days before.
And what is this? Why is this book so important?
It's a book which is part of a set, which is if you have all of them, you can be God.
That might be helpful.
You can create gods.
Yes, or
basically
anything you want, really. All of them don't still exist, but I think this is a case of we don't want the dragons to have this thing anymore because immense power. Also, the one we have encountered before gave us enough information to almost kill that dragon we met. I mean, we'd probably be dead now if we hadn't had that.
All right. So what do we want to do then? First, Lord Archon, I'd say.
Yes.
Before we bring this whole town in uproar.
Yes, I think that breaking into the Tandas temple right now and getting full going for the books would raise a few flags.
You want to hear my advice?
Sure. Please.
This is your area of expertise. So.
Meet these people who have the information to break in to the temple, and then kill them because they are liabilities.
What do you mean after we get their information?
Connor's
they have a meeting tonight, actually.
Killing everybody.
I mean, I'm not really interested in going there to slaughter them. They seem like,
It's not slaughtering, it's just tying up loose ends.
Well, I mean, they're not loose and yet.
They're in the holy halls of all the gods. If they die here, their souls, if they don't find their way.
No, I'm not objecting to the killing
That's
part.
your opinion.
I'm objecting to the part where we kill them before we have any use out of them.
That's the bit I like. I agree. That
Use.
You go to the meeting and get whatever more information. You make use of them as you see fit to further our purposes.
Yes.
I can't say that I would agree with our friend here about the rest of it.
Yeah, honestly, these people are going to get themselves killed very, very soon either way. They're not very bright.
That is the problem, isn't it? If they get themselves killed because they want to break in there, information will be leaked.
Well, if their mission is to destroy the books, I think they're their own distraction.
True. I mean, it all depends on the timeline of their plans.
If you can influence them so they work for you, sure. It's not what I would do. And if it goes to shit, it's your litter box.
Sure. But I mean, you are a one-tool kind of person, really.
You want me to use tool? I use tool. You want me to use X? I use X. It's one tool for the job. Why you need more tools? You're just inefficient.
Speaking of...
Damage momentum, murdering everyone in the room is your solution to everything. You need to diversify. Anyway, so yes, I do intend
I can diversify.
Well, no, I mean, I'll definitely be attending the meeting as Billy, or which I think my name is now. They've got a thing with names.
These people are going to be able to use it all.
What do we need to do to prepare for our dear friend who is arriving here in 6 days?
That was rather my next question for you, is how exactly are we going to be intercepting this wagon? I mean, we're getting a time and place or some other?
This is certainly information I want to find out the details about soon, but I have no reason to doubt the person who gave me the information. He is very eager.
All right. Should we start, asking around, trying to find out more about Spoff and whatnot until then? Or should we just lay low?
Sure. That asking about
we have time.
The High Lord, you said, might be interesting, but I wouldn't, as you said, lying low is of the prime concern because our main goal is not Lord Spoff.
No.
The book that we know or might not know is there or not.
No. If it's there, I mean, it's sure, I'd like to get a hold of...
I have heard of other break-ins in temples in the past.
If it's there,
Second hand,
for
nothing.
example.
if
I've heard of
it's there,
people who have done it.
it becomes a strategic situation.
But there are two ways to approach this, I would say. Do it all in one go, in one day, or wait.
Well, I suppose that depends a little bit on how much shit our snatching the Lord Archon will kick up.
Also, it'd
whole
be
idea
useful
is
to
to,
question the Lord Archon about his relationship with the Church of Tundas before we go in there. Since that's
Well, it seems quite admirable if you ask me, as they're helping him.
Whoa! Could we replace him?
If we got him, we can turn
I mean,
into
I
him.
can look like anyone.
Sure. Do you also have all the knowledge you need? Are you
Probably
good
not.
with
I'm
the
just-
poker face? I just see a tail wiggling about, and I'm just imitating
All right,
it.
no, I do not. However, like, it is not the worst idea for getting in and like delaying them figuring out that he's been taken.
Okay, then let me ask you this: to what end? Just to keep it under wraps for a little bit longer?
And have a look at the secret book area.
Well, there's the other consideration is that if the Church of Tundas and the High Priest of Tundas are aiding the Lord High Archon knowledge of the rest of it or not, which is we need to establish.
Well,
There's
it
a reason
is your
why-
very height. You can do or not do whatever you wish and feel comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's not risky. I'm just saying it's a heck of an opportunity.
It's
Sure.
worth considering, I agree.
And it might also be a good opportunity to get to this Lord Spoth.
It might.
All sorts of possibilities, but first we have to get our hands on Dengathwin.
Yeah. I
All
do
right.
know a few things that he knows, but I guess we'll see when it happens.
We'll
Sure.
see.
Now,
Just
our
have
silent partner over there,
Yes.
what is it that you learned?
Yes. Unfortunately, not much of use. I've scoured the streets and more or less mapped out the area where we can move around, but that's not much useful. The only other thing I found out was that secretive people are secretive.
Oh, yes. Good that you learned that.
I'll
Yes.
make a note.
I happened to run into, I think she was a priestess of Kalashi. And
Really?
they don't speak much, but she might have some information that is useful for, well, let's say something we need to do very soon.
The family business.
She might have information regarding Drakenmore and the Duke of Ulkov.
Yes.
But we'll see. I'm supposed to meet her in 2 days, so.
All right.
We have a busy week ahead of us.
I would say if that is all the information to share, I will then indulge myself.
Oh, apparently Corsinii was blown up.
What?
What?
If I remember
Feel
that
free
correctly.
to indulge, Atramentum.
Very fine. I heard there are fine wines and fine ladies here.
I think it was the city under Woden Lee that was blown up, right? The,
Tremendous.
Corsinia-
I'm going to go get laid now. You guys talk about Corsinia. I want this.
have fun.
The Oaken told me Corsinii had been blown up.
What?
Why? What?
When? What? Why? Oh
I
no!
seem to be under the impression we might have been involved. But anyway.
What? Wait, how would we be involved with?
I mean, Con, you met the leader from Howdenley, right? You know the leader of Howdenley.
Yeah, that's the
That's-
second city that's now blown up.
So there was an engine in Corsinii.
I don't know. That's all I was told by the Oaken. He seemed surprised.
There was a cigarette.
And now this news about what's been going on beneath Howdenley.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
War on all fronts.
what's going on under Howdenley?
Do tell, Con. Nope. Okay.
More explosions.
All right. Well, wait. Oh, this is strange. Why is things exploding? And who told you this, by the way?
It's gossip from stable hands. I don't.
Oh,
This is all coming to a very terrifying point.
it is. We need to hurry up.
All right. Speaking of that, then do you go to your meeting for revolutionizing education? Or
Yes.
as they call it. Yeah. So that's really rare.
Yes.
So
I turn back into Billy and I go meet them.
All right. Atramentum, you're indulging. Jorik, are you going to be doing anything particular?
No. Jorik's... He's frustrated.
Well,
he's going to go indulge.
All right. Off to the Brussels with you. Con?
Yes.
Well, we're sat in
Screw it.
Brussels, aren't we?
You are indeed. When in Rome?
No. I don't suppose there's a nicer inn or tavern nearby.
Oh, sure. You could go to Nerve, for example, where, well, it does get a bit noisy with all the babies being born there.
I just want an inn.
I just want a normal freaking inn. Why was there nothing here? That inn is full of books and hipsters reading, and that's just birth.
What happened to a good old fireplace, meat on a stick, and a tin mug full of ale?
Hell is the closest you're going to get. Hell is the god of nature, so it's rustic.
Hell,
but it's great. Hal, hell. Yes, it's rustic, but it is home.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dave.
Yes, exactly. All right, so that's what you guys are doing. Billy, you join up with
yes.
He's very excited. I didn't expect you to join us. I must admit.
Why not? This is amazing.
We've had a few who have been scared away by the prospect of what we're trying to do here.
Why would I be scared of a bright new world?
It's going to be bright when they burn. Yes,
it's true. Fire is very bright.
Yes, he takes you down various alleyways and things, and eventually he gets to looks like the back of a building where, oh God, it's embarrassing to watch how the two of you walk past the building and then suddenly he stops and he's like, all right, do exactly what I do because we're being watched.
Oh, crap. By who? By agents of the library?
Yes, of course. They know what we're doing. They just can't stop us now because we've got too much momentum. And on that, he sort of does a spin, runs over to the wall where he sort of slaps himself against it and then doesn't move for a few seconds.
I do exactly the same.
Then inches his way along to a window and he sort of taps out this ridiculously complicated code.
I memorize it.
The window's then opened and he tries to slide in like an expert, but he's not. So
I give him a foot up.
You eventually have to give him a foot up and then a help over, and then you kind of just climb in. It's not too difficult. Inside, it's a dormitory of acolytes for one of the gods. You're not entirely sure. But
Why do I think this is like a 80s college sitcom?
Right. Well, it might as well be.
Tanda's house.
This is definitely Tanda's house. Although this is like the really geeky side of Tanda's house, which is pretty difficult.
It's a chess club.
It's the
Revolution Club.
Yeah. Anyway, so you spend the evening with
Embrace myself.
As you start to hear their rhetoric, and they would have pamphlets, but pamphlets are so limiting in terms of power. They can
require writing.
well, they require writing, and then they limit you to a manifesto, which is limiting your power. You just shouldn't have it. So, yes, after 2 hours of this deluge of delusion, which causes brain death in many people.
I talked to them about sandwriting and sort of...
They really want to unpack sandwriting. And one of them proposes that the letters themselves cause elitism because the order in which letters come in determines importance. So they want to develop a writing system where all the letters look the same.
And don't get them started between vocals.
Absolutely. So if all the letters are the same, then they can't be an elitism. There is the snag, of course, of them not being able to make out what the word is because they would all sound the same. So they're working on that, though. It is one of their priorities as part of their manifesto.
Yes, I suggest a randomized alphabet and let them go at it for another hour.
Yes. That really does throw a cat amongst the pigeons because the randomizing, it's that gets them excited. Sandwriting in a randomized pattern gets them very, very excited. And what you manage to glean out of this whole thing, I need you to give me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, God.
You have permanent intelligence damage.
Yes, very much.
Oh, 15.
15, all right.
With intelligence saving throw, doesn't matter when I roll badly.
You need to, you realize that getting any kind of straight answer out of this bunch is difficult. Because what one answers, the other one counters, and it goes in cycles, and it's painfully dull. And these are all painful people who really want to make a change in the world, but just haven't got a clue on how to do it. However, you manage to piece together that in those 5 chambers, the chamber of the divine has always been restricted anyway. And the only people who've been allowed to go in and out of there are priests who are of what they call the 7th order and above, or the 7th. It depends on the particular deity. Sometimes it's the 7th calling. Sometimes it's the
circle,
7th circle, etc., etc. Correct. But nonetheless, it's priests who have attained a certain level of standing within the church. They're the ones who are allowed in or out. And so it doesn't matter what you try and do.
So just as a comparison, would this be major or general, or like just from the ranking, like the 7th rank?
No, there's a fairly high up to metagame and 7th level characters and above.
Oh, okay.
So it's priests who've been around for quite some time and have got some sort of clout. Yes. And the way they open the door, they're not sure, but there's something that they do, or they're holding a holy symbol which opens up the door for them. That's what you do get out of it. The air vent theory has been proven correct because it was either Duh or Air who has now walked the entire grounds of the library and has found these vents that lead in and out of these chambers. And
Excellent.
they specifically detected the aroma of the wax that they burn that does not have smoke.
Sweet. How big are these vents?
The vent is about 3 foot by 2 foot. Yeah.
A job for FerretCon.
Yes, I think that would do.
FerretCon into the ducts.
I could probably crawl through a 3-foot duct. Probably.
Yes, you could. Well, most people could actually. It's quite narrow. I couldn't personally, but
no, maybe
thinner people could. And people who are not worried about
adventuring people could
go backwards. Yes,
people who occasionally move.
Yes,
on occasion.
Just
when
seen this
with the cattle.
I've heard of it.
So yes, that is the sum totality of the information you get out of this night.
Yes.
Aside from the fact that they don't drink alcohol at these parties because alcohol destroys intelligence, and none of them have enough courage to go and actually buy alcohol from the tavern because it's a new idea for them, and that's beyond their scope.
I think Billy has a bit more sort of courage and worldliness than they're used to in that case, because Billy is a traveling scholar.
Yes. Well, there is some debate though, because that does give you a certain elitist knowledge. But
That's
since
true.
they don't know how they could erase that knowledge from you, they're willing to overlook it on account of you not using it when having to come up with solutions and things. Then they would
How
accept.
did these people figure out how to breathe?
You do realize that if you get them late, they will forget everything about what they have ever planned, right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
You get a sense that they do have a master plan, but they're not sharing with you yet because there is that certain reservation that they have not yet
of
one of
course.
them.
Would you say they have an M plan?
Oh. They have a plur. Yes.
Mapla.
Do we get a sense that this plan is imminent in any way?
No,
that's good.
This plan
Nothing
is
imminent with these people.
years in the making, and they've convinced themselves that the treacle pace at which they're moving is because of direct sabotage from the higher ups who keep trying to educate them, and it's a daily struggle to resist the
intelligence elitist bourgeoisie.
Exactly. It is a dangerous game they play. So yes, that's the state you find yourself in. Crawling home at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you have to crawl because everyone climbs out the window.
Of course.
And they all climb out the window, and then you notice once they've kind of waved goodbye to you, they all rather sheepishly go through the gate on the side because that's their dorm, so they should actually be there. But anyway, so that's what you notice as you walk away.
Oh, I just wander away to go to the tavern that Con picked, which I assume is the one we're all going to just...
What? Well, they're at the brothel. Con disappeared. He went to go and find his commune with nature. So
yeah,
you can go back
I'm
to
just to be a tree.
I'm just gonna go.
Wanted an inn.
I'm just gonna go into around the corner and turn it to Adversai again. Just go find somewhere to sleep and eat.
All right. Well, the food was great at the brothel, and you have rooms there, so it's not difficult.
I'm just not sure I want to sleep. It might be noisy.
No, the rooms are all very well appointed and silent. Yes.
Oh, well then, sure. Why not?
There we go. Following morning, you all rise bright and early. There is now 4 days until the Lord Archon is going to arrive. Atra, I assume you're going to go and speak to the Lord of the Temple of Reft?
Actually, later, yes. The first thing that I would want to do is actually get a lay of the land, so to say.
Right, with
see where the Spoth guy hangs out, usually where his headquarters is.
All right.
Take a look at where the temple, what these people were talking about with the books is, and what's going on there.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, in the evening or whatnot, I would go to them and just basically get the details.
All right. Jorik, what are you going to be doing? Anything in particular? I mean, you don't have to do it. You don't feel the pressure.
I think Jorik's not going to do anything special right now. I don't know. He's just going to bide his time.
All right.
Wait for things to happen.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I'm up early, and so I'm back at the brothel in time to see this lot before they head in their different...
It is a better breakfast. It's cooked here, whereas at Hal, it's all raw.
You're not hunching over on the floor.
Okay.
I just wanted to fucking in. I just want to know my
Do they not exist?
Why are they not all themed? Yeah. All right, so you're going to rejoin them, and are you going to sort of just hang out and
I've got a lot of gold that never spend because my holidays never happen. So whilst people are doing, there's nothing immediate.
Yeah,
there's nothing immediate Con needs to do. So Con is going to have a really big breakfast and probably start drinking at 11.
Wow, that's late for the doctor.
Maybe have an even bigger lunch.
Right, just having a marvelous time.
Yeah.
I want to get tourist shit.
Adressire's touristing.
So
Yes.
what I will speak with the head of the temple is I do want some poisons and schnick schnack and yik yak and other implements of torture and such.
Right. Well, the layout that you managed to fathom is that the entrance that the wagon will take,
Yes.
Battlehold has multiple entrances for official wagons, basically
Yes.
designed to cut out all of the hoi polloi that sit outside the main gates.
Back alleys, sure.
Correct. It will probably come in through the one that's closest to Tandas. That's the one that he would take if he was going directly to Tandas.
Sure.
It has a rather curious section, which is quite easy to spot. Once you get in through the main gates, the road immediately T-junctions. So you're coming in at the top of the T. It goes left, it goes right, and then it goes straight through. Going left and going right takes you on a very circuitous route to Tandas. Very, very slow route, especially if it's in a wagon that's the size that it was described to you as, a four-wheeled wagon with 2 horses. So we'd have to go on a very circuitous route to get to Tandas. The fastest route is straight across the T, down the length of the T itself, and then out the bottom. That basically then takes you almost directly to Tandas, except there is a single bend that the building has to take to avoid a rather large pond to the god Hell. In the pond, there are hippopotami that are lounging around, so the road had to turn left. That section, for approximately probably 100 yards, there is no exit off of that section. It is a straight section of road through buildings. What the Lord of Reft proposes is that he is allowed once a week to hold a march where all of his worshippers march through the city to try and convert any of the less devout of the other religions. They're all allowed to do it. They simply have to get permission to do so from Lord Spoth himself. Mm-hmm. He usually grants it because it shows that he is caring for all of the religions that he supposedly represents. Mm-hmm. What Rel proposes is that he will have a march that happens to go past the Temple of Tandas and down that particular road at exactly the time the carriage arrives. This means the carriage will get embedded in amongst his worshippers, which should give you approximately 15 minutes inside that carriage where it has to stop, join the procession, and then continue down. During that time, he will have worshippers who can remove the generally 3 paladins who are in that wagon. You can then take the paladin's position and gain access to the wagon and do whatever it is that you want to do. You have a 15-minute window. At that point, the carnival has to spread and go in different directions, and the wagon will then proceed on to Tandas, which takes about 3 minutes.
Sure.
That's his proposal. He has a very special item, which he demands back afterwards. It is a sphere of anti-magic. Its radius is about 15 feet. Mm-hmm. That's what you wanted.
Okay.
Just bearing in mind, it stops all magic.
Yeah.
Blanket for the enemy only.
No, that's understood. That's the reason why I want the poison, right?
Right. He can get you the suits of armor that the paladins who ride outside the carriage wear, if you want to.
Yes, please.
Not a problem.
And what's the problem with the sphere in conjunction with the paladins?
The sphere is always active, although he has a case which you can carry the sphere in where it is inactive. If it passes near any of the paladins, they will automatically detect a cessation of magic around them, and that will alert.
So it doesn't break, it's just the jig is up.
Correct. Correct. Okay. They don't like that sort of thing inside Valenhold.
No, that's understood. Okay. Can he get me to the back alley tea thing today or tomorrow?
Well, you can go there whenever you like. It's not suspicious.
Yeah. Okay. That I wasn't sure about that.
Sure.
Okay. No, then it's fine. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Sounds like
Satisfied?
a plan.
That's what he suggests. There are possibly alternatives, in which case you can suggest them and he will see what he can do to assist you if you would prefer to do some other way. He won't help you outside of the city of Valenhold. That's outside of his jurisdiction, and he will not piss off the King of Brunei. He is very close to signing a deal with the king to convert the entire country over to Reft. He's not going to jeopardize that by causing the king
Sure.
to...
No, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, if I'll scout out the place, see what I think, and if anything needs to be changed, I'm
Sure.
in the back.
Give me an investigate check, if you please.
12.
The route that he's suggesting does make sense. The other two routes, if the wagons go down those other two routes, you possibly would be able to get from the main entrance to those other routes before it got to the temple, because it's such a weird sort of route that this heavy wagon would have to take. But obviously you then don't have the carnival slowing them down, and just pacing it, it would probably take you maybe 7 minutes by wagon to get from the entrance via either the left or the right route to the Temple of Tandas. Without the carnival, it would take you 4 minutes.
Wait, then it's not a T intersection, right? Then it's just an intersection.
No,
if there are two other ways.
Yeah, so imagine a T shape.
Yes.
Right. You're entering through the main gate into the top of the T. So you can go left.
That's not a T, that's a cross then.
No, it's a T. Because the road runs along the inner wall of the city.
It's fine. I understand what you mean, but
right. You describe it as a cross.
I think it's a cross if there's a third, a fourth.
Well, they can't go back once they've come in through the doors unless they open the door.
It's okay. We're on the same page.
Right. So, yes, you estimate that it's 4 minutes if they go directly down the length straight to Tandas. If they take the circuitous routes, it's 7 minutes. With the carnival, obviously, then opens out to 15 minutes.
All right. Okay. So what I want to know is, so you say obviously that most of the city itself is with ceiling and
correct, all of it
out of necessity. Also, then buildings and whatnot that kind of build these streets, right?
Absolutely.
So how are these buildings like? I'm thinking like Assassin's Creed like shit right now. That's in my mind.
That's absolutely.
I want to know
level different structures all around that entire length.
So what I'm basically wanting to know is if how far away is the place where he wants to have the ambush happen from the entrance, from the fork? Right. So how much time passes from here to the ambush spot?
Right.
Because I'm thinking like if he just takes the left or the right, I'm fucked. If this is the only place that I have a plan for, right? So how far away is that? That's the one thing that I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, well, how the kind of the architecture that looks. How, like, if you say like, basically it goes up 100 feet or whatever it is, should be more 100 yards.
Right.
Then if there are like balconies and
there are plenty of overhangs,
gargoyles and edifices and I don't know what shit, right? So if you can like hide in the stands, I guess.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So, yes, you look around. Most of the buildings near the entrance are actually storehouses because the wagons come in, they drop their goods off, and then from there they're disseminated out. So you're quite pleased to see that most of those storehouses are fairly devoid of people. And yes, they have different tiers. Some have little balconies, some have windows. But
so this looks like a waterfront from an old harbor kind of city.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Good, a good sort of visual. The point where the ambush is supposed to happen is about 100 yards away from the T-junction. So quite a bit in, but the wagon itself, it's restricted to those three routes because of the width of the wagon. in between the buildings, there are dozens of little alleyways that crisscross between those three routes. So you reckon that even if he doesn't go straight down, if he does take a circuitous route, you can cross from where ostensibly the ambush would happen to either one of those 2 points in under 30 seconds. It's just a case of running down a side alleyway, maybe jumping over one standard little wall.
Yeah. Okay. So
it is doable. Mm.
Okay. So last question then is it visible, the place of ambush, from the entrance?
No, because of that bend that
Okay.
it takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that's what you do. Adrasai, Yorick, and Con, you have marvelous days burning through gold. You can chalk off 20 gold each for food, wine, and trinkets.
Whilst I'm doing this, I'm not just mindlessly being a hedonist here. I am cogitating. The Con is planning and plotting and thinking and contemplating all the information that's flowed in over the last couple of days, thinking about stuff.
Does he have a plan yet?
Maybe. We'll see.
All right, we'll see.
He's waiting on further developments, notably the return of Atra, who will have key information about how the future will unfold in the next few days.
Yes. All right, Adrasai?
I was actually thinking about one sort of to wander the street and finding, as always, a map of the city.
Right.
And then sort of going to check out the area between the southern gates and the Temple of Tandas, so sort of starting to get a sense of the area of where the wagon is going to come in, and sort of, get to know what's actually here, like places to hang out and wait, places to duck in, sort of thing.
Right, not a problem.
To sort of get to know the area.
Sure. A map will cost you 5 gold. It's not really accurate. It's more like here is the Temple of Reft, and over here is the Temple of Tandas. Temple of Nur has some unusual architectural features. Insofar as it's shaped, it's one of those kind of, you are here, and then these
tourist map.
Oh, that's not so far to walk. We can walk that 5 days later and get there.
What I do then is I take the map, and on the back I start drawing my own with the first one as a reference, and I start to draw an actual map of the city as I go.
Okay, as you sort of start to plot out your process. What you do notice whilst you're doing this is that there are wagons that come in and out all the time that are marked as official Valenholt wagons.
Oh, good. Are they all sort of the same?
Yeah, they're all labeled the same. Fairly square-shaped, 4 wheels, 2 horses. They arrive at the gate. The gate is opened. There are usually 4 guards that open the gates just because of the size of the doors. The wagon comes in. The gates are closed. The horses are held by one of the 4 guards. The other 3 guards, one of them starts to interrogate the driver, and then 2 of them then go through to the back of the wagon and then check inside the wagon.
So the opening is at the back?
Of the wagon, correct, yes. The wagon, it opens at the back. The wagons are made out of wood. Those doors are then closed once the 2 have checked. It's at that point then that those 2 go back inside. The one who's still talking to the driver finishes talking to the driver. Then from inside, 3 paladins in fairly sort of ornate regalia. It doesn't look very practical, but it's very showy, then arrive, and they step on either side of the wagon, and one climbs into the front seat next to the driver. Then the last paladin who was holding the horses then steps aside, and then the driver plus his now 3 paladins then ride deeper into the city.
Like a local escort, kind of.
A local escort is picked up, correct. The armor of those 3 paladins, you note with a little bit of glee perhaps, it's a full closed visor, and it's difficult to see inside of that armor. And the one sitting at the front usually is chatting away to the driver, and the 2 standing on either side usually hold on to the side of the wagon. And you notice with a little bit of glee, as the wagon moves away, that normally they're supposed to stand with one foot on the platform of the wagon and one hand holding onto the railing and then looking out over the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You get a sense that this armor is quite heavy. So what they usually do is they usually then swing in so that they're looking into the wagon with their backs to the crowd. They also take up less space so the wagon can fit through all of the people. And that's how they navigate their way to wherever it's going. The wagons frequently stop as a cluster of people have to get out of the way and then move on.
Yeah. Can I get a look at the top of the wagon?
Oh, sure. There's plenty of balconies and things. The top of the wagon is quite flat. Doesn't seem to have anything special to it. That you can't see a hatch or anything like that. Just a flat roof. It could be canvas that you can see. It doesn't look like it's wooden.
All right.
Yeah. You were going to ask something, Simon?
Yeah, so when we meet back together, I would like to go through like a preliminary plan with everybody.
All right, that's not a problem. That evening, you all kind of get back together again, cogitating, ruminating, fornicating has happened. Everyone is happy, well-fed, and the plan can continue.
I show them my map.
It's a spectacular map.
So with the information shared, the plan that where I am at right now, and I'm obviously always up to any kind of insights and oversights that get pointed out and such and so forth, right? What right now where my head is kill the paladins that are supposed to be there at the day. We have our armor. We slip in the armor, and we are the guards instead of them. Mm-hmm. It is two flies with one stone in the sense of there are less guards around, and we are already close. And it doesn't matter which way they take as much.
Did it look like those helmets could possibly hide a pair of horns? Or are they not that large?
No, like I said, they're fairly ornate. And you actually, well, now that you think about it, they actually had horns on them. They had horns on the side, and then these great big plumes, and then these heavy cloaks that sort of sat around their shoulders with fern as well.
Yeah, you could hide a lot of shit in there.
So that's basically two birds with one stone kind of an approach. That means we need the information who is going to be there at that point of time and where they're going to be before that so we can get them out of sight.
Yes, we need to learn a lot about the paladins, which ones, their schedule.
We have 4 more days, right? So, but that would be the next thing that we would need to find out. Said about the information about the magic thing, that we can make it on and off when we need to. And if it's on for everybody. So with him being like a mage of some power and renown, it would cut off any kind of way for him to get out magically, as well as protect us from his offensive arsenal of stuff.
In an emergency, if we don't get that orb out fast enough, I do have the ability to counterspell.
Same.
Good.
Now, next thing is that what I want to do is I want to ride out and I want to scout up ahead and see where he is, how long he is, that he's not early or whatever a day and we're completely effed. That we know which of the chariots we are actually looking for.
True. That's a good point.
That I can just see what's going on. But that means that I'm leaving the city and that you kind of need to get ready for the thing.
I can still contact you.
I'm just saying that then the information about the paladins and so on and so forth would be needed to get finished by you. If we need, like, we don't actually need the armor from the paladins. Like, if it doesn't fit because they're bigger and smaller or whatever, then like are not tieflings, we can get replacements that look alike from the guy, right? That are like paladins, but maybe fit us. That's something he said.
I'm not going to pass for a paladin either way, I feel.
That's fine. If there are 3 of the paladins anyway, then you can be up in the rafters, right?
Oh, yes.
That's not a problem. And I tell them the plan with the kind of the stop of the commotion going on, yada, yada, yada. That is basically where my head is at right now. Now, Guy, when I spoke to him about poisons, could I specifically ask about certain poisons, or which poisons would I be able to get?
You can ask him. Yeah.
I'm looking for wyvern or purple worm poisons.
Those are expensive, but if you agree to take out Spoth, he will provide you with a vial of each.
Good, done. And in the meantime, or I just like when he gets me the armaments, there will weapons be included. So like
Longsword,
whatever, right? Yeah. So okay, so and then I'm gonna get like a dagger and I guess well, yada yada, whatever, right? I mean that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, but that's where my head is right now. I don't know if you guys have like other insights, other points where you could like improve the entire situation, backup plans, and also where I didn't think about much yet is what to do afterwards, where to go. I mean, we can get to the church here in the brothels, and he said like we are safe here. He'll protect us from.
That's good.
He'll give us a safe
the wagon suddenly veering off course is probably going to raise some eyebrows as well.
Well, if he needs to hold, like the idea is that he needs to stop, and then in the commotion we get inside, we finish the job, and get out. And like that's one of the ideas why I don't want to question him on the way there. The next question is then what do we actually want to do? Like if we do all this, do we then want to do the kind of double kind of trick? If you want to go through with this,
I think that
once, right?
If we do manage to get to the wagon and take it over, we would be fools not to continue along with that ruse for as long as we can.
Okay, so if you want to go through with this and it's heading to this temple, then figure out with your alphabet soup what you want to do with the books and get that plan on point for that day. Not necessarily including them, but get like what you need to know and how you want to do this, because that is something that I will not worry about because I'm out of city.
Of course.
Right?
Just to clarify, which paladins do you want us to impersonate?
The people who join the carriage.
Yes, the one I told you about, the local escort.
So, which will be at the gates of the city.
Yes. So we just stand there, just like, oh yeah, we are supposed to be here and join this caravan, right? Or carriage, chariot, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of where my head is right now. I think that would be the smoothest, possibly smoothest kind of.
Yes, or if that's not possible, then take their places at this bend in the road.
Sure, I mean that would be the less optimal, but the fallback plan if we cannot learn this information. Yes, then we would need to face these three people and kind of dispatch of them.
Yes, they're not very attentive from what I could see.
Well, if they need to stop because they're in the Mardi Gras kind of procession or whatever it is, they're gonna take a look around what's happening. I mean, that's just
given their the nature of their escort, we should probably assume they'll be more on alert than usual.
Yeah. Yes, also. So sure. Like if you can learn anything about that, where the barracks is, where the reinforcements would be coming from, right? That's also stuff that could be found out. But like that's the plan. That's the information we need. That's where I am at. Like absolutely. Right? Like I will try to be like a day ahead of him coming back. So I'll ride out one day, ride back one day, and then hopefully, if I find him this quickly, we have one spare day to finish the paladin business and such.
Yes.
That's kind of where my head is right now, timing-wise as well.
Yes. No, we need to have someone keep an eye on him at least, unless your friends can have him tracked.
Outside the city doesn't seem to be in the purview necessarily of those people. So that's why I want to go out personally as well, because also I know whom I am looking for.
True. Right. This is all not in my wheelhouse.
And on that note, we'll be back next week when this diabolic plot unfolds.
Or unfurls.
Or unfurls, depending on the carnival. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't stay for us, if you don't stay with us for the review after the show, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week. If you do stay for the review, let's get into that before I run out of words again. Dice Destiny says it's number 8. That's you, Jenny. Yes. So an episode of Plotting, Conniving, and
Yes, there was a lot of making plans for things that might happen later. It's a kind of thing that I'm personally not great at, and I'm kind of happy that I have a character who isn't very great at it either, because that means the expectations placed on me at this point are quite low.
I don't know. You've made a map of the area. You've sussed out the guards.
I'm good at plugging holes, as we established quite some time ago. Like I'm good at sort of figuring out. All right, what do we actually need for this?
Right.
But yeah, I'm helpful, but like this is a mad venture that we are just like. This is worse than anything else we've ever rushed into. And we have rushed into attacking the Lord Hyarchon in his office. Like, this is so risky, and there are a million ways this could go terrifyingly wrong.
I feel much more prepared, actually.
Yes, for once we're actually planning for it.
Yeah, that's true. But still, it is it's just a looming disaster as far as I'm concerned. But I am looking forward to this so much. It's going to be so fun, disaster or success.
Right.
And also it would be intensely hilarious to have Androsai try to impersonate the Lord Hyarchon to Dengafwin.
I am the Lord Hyarchon. Hello.
And grumpy. Dragons.
I want to see that happen now. Just so you can do that noise again. All right. So there we go. That was fantastic. Cogitating and planning.
Yes. Well, it's this thing is becoming interesting in scope as various others are pulled into the orbit of our activities, and suddenly we're finding convenient connections, like with our friend Spoth.
Mm-hmm.
Who I believe was a person of interest to us already.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And clearly I'm suspicious of Ven Katani because he appears to be giving aid and succor to the Archon, but perhaps he's ignorant, but yeah, we'll see.
In Con's eyes, ignorance is no defense, by the sounds of things.
Yeah. Well, when we pass certain levels of authority, then I find it hard to believe that you don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where Con's mind is at, and he's kind of happy to let some of the tactical planning of dastardly deeds and ideas come generating forward, whilst he sort of munches on his food and ponders it all.
Right.
Looking forward to this heist. I think it's going to be great fun as a player. So yeah, I like the way we've all sort of been working on our areas to do this thing.
Yeah.
I like the new dynamic, especially having a sort of roguish character who can go there and do those dastardly meetings and have access that world. Gives a whole new sort of benefit to our activities, I think. So that's fun. And all the sort of weird wonderfulness as well with the book club and such, or the anti-book club.
The anti-book club. The anti-book club, absolutely. Or the as they
freedom to the letters, down with the grammar.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And of course, the ever looming in the background. I just have a lot of questions for this Lord Archon. A lot of questions. So,
Lots of
a
questions.
lot of questions.
Well,
First of all, how dare you?
We'll spend an episode capturing him and killing him by then, hopefully, if it all goes according to plan, and then hopefully our horned friend here can deliver on his promise to allow us to interrogate him.
If he doesn't, it's just like, what? No.
yeah, sorry, I was wrong.
It'll be the sound of a bear bellowing, and then this tiefling exits through the wall.
Yes.
It's like, peace.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Simon, you've got lots of plans going on here.
I like plans. I like it when a plan comes together, right? That's the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's actually a lot to unpack this session. First of all, my character doesn't know what exactly happened with this Archon.
Right.
If he would know, I would go about things a little bit different, and I would have had certain specific words for certain specific people. Now, with that being said, I go forward with not knowing what happened there and what I think would be the best plan the character can come up with, and actually what I would also kind of try to do. So that's kind of the plan and kind of things. Now, more metagaming wise is, I think, much more interesting to speak about here today, because there's always the problem, if you don't do it right away, that the dungeon master has time to think about things.
Oh, sure.
And it is, you need, and I do trust the dungeon master, you in this case, to not say like, now that I know their plan.
Right.
The video about that.
Right, because that is, in my opinion, horrid to do as a dungeon master. That is something of the worst kind of atrocities you can put on your players, because you want the information of your players so you can prepare, but not in a kind of nasty, malicious way. Because if you do this, then that's something your players will catch on.
Well, absolutely,
quickly.
and then it'll stop them from planning, because what's the point? They plan so that the GM can thwart them every time. I agree.
Gotcha, right? So I think that's super important from both parts for the player to realize, well, that's not the dungeon master's job, for
Correct.
one. And two, it is still beneficial to share these informations just so you are prepared with the scenario. Because if it's just like, now we completely change it and we want to attack him in the swamp, like you're like, what's going on? Like,
Right.
Sure, I can run this by the seat of my pants, but it will not be as memorable. It will not have like interesting details and stuff like this. So that's my opinion on the metagaming thing, and why I think it is beneficial to get this out for
Right.
everybody and see. This is also one of the few times that there is an actual kind of heist-like thing happening in D&D. In my 20 years of experience of it, I had a few of those, but like they're not often, and it's super interesting and super fun. I'm really looking forward to it and see how this unfolds, or not, and how it really kind of turns out to come. I don't think it is a catastrophe in waiting to happen, because I'm actually trying to keep it from happening and trying to come out with a plan. And, okay, if this happens, then we kind of can do this to counteract this kind of thing, right? So,
And there was a dragon.
No, I
Open the door, it's just like,
yeah.
But to me, what is much more interesting to me as a player, because I think and I hope it kind of goes some way down the plan, like how hard it will be in the end to overcome this, doesn't really matter. And I as a player and as a dungeon master, both, like this might be different from you, but this is me, I would be super happy if this would be easy for the players. But we have other stuff we need to do in the city anyway. So even if this is somewhat achievable fairly easily because we had the plan, we don't have a clue what to do with Spoth right now. And he will know that something went down once, like possibly, if this goes up in flames or whatnot, will end the bookcase thing. Like there's stuff that still can go hilariously wrong. Without everything being super hard. So I'm looking forward how to this actually comes out, because one of the things that also everybody needs to remember is like mages are very strong, especially high-level mages, but they're super weak if you're prepared for them usually. And that is kind of what I'm expecting here. Like this is me what I'm expecting. If it happens this way or if it doesn't happen this way, no hard feelings either way, as long as it's not like a haha, right?
Right. No.
But so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And lastly, also interesting, where I would have completely done it differently than you, is the investigation check that I did when I went to scope out the place. I don't know what the role actually did or didn't do, because like I would have done the second part, actually describing the place around, and let the player or players figure out what they want to do according to the information I gave, right? That's just like a different style, which I like, why do I want to, like, this sucks. I want to actually see the place and describe it, not just like have the feeling of, yeah, I rolled low so you don't get the information, right?
Well, right.
It's like, but that's me personally. So,
Sure.
A little bit more lengthy this today, but I think there was quite a few interesting things
Going on. No, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Jarek?
Interesting episode. It's definitely building up to something. You can sort of feel the tension building, and it's noticeable, and also in the different characters as they're turning more focused. In the meantime, Jorik is becoming more aloof.
Yes, I was going
He
to
got
say.
violently shoved into a headspace by this lady who reminded him of home. So he's been a bit pacing and a bit distant because he keeps getting... That's what consumes his mind right now.
Right.
So he's having trouble focusing on the task at hand, but he'll do what he can. But that's also why I play him a bit aloof right now, because it's weighing on him.
How many weeks left until the ceremony is complete?
5. Now. Has to be.
Yeah, because you've taken this will be 5 days here in Valenhold at least.
So we're down to 4 weeks once we finish.
Once we're done here, it's
possibly less with the other stuff we need to do.
Yep.
Hopefully we can get there after this.
I mean, we don't have much of a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
If we want to do it, which I think we should and want.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, he also has this Ankh thing burning in his pocket that he
we had the right
about.
place to find out more about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
Speaking in terms of meta, I propose that we sort of deal with this situation in Valenhold and then basically just make direct for our adventure in Drakenborg.
Vampire Lands.
Yes, possibly using the druid property.
Well, you'd have to, because to get there under normal is almost 3 weeks travel.
You'd have to go around Brenya.
You would go from Valenhold, you would go to Caer on Ghent, and then that's 4 days overland, or 3 days.
We need to shut another ship, in other words, right?
And then you would take a ship across the Tenebrae Sea. That's 2 weeks, and then that only gets you into the harbors of Drakenmoor. Then you still have to take another overland, which is another 5 days. So you've got if you were doing it by conventional means, you'd probably arrive in time for the ceremony.
Yeah, which could be interesting.
Which could be dramatic and putting you in the middle of the vampire.
Wizards are never late. They arrive precisely
when they're meant to. I'm precisely meant to arrive 5 minutes after the event.
I got it.
So we don't have to deal with it.
You portal to
Hatsha in the kingdoms, and then we sail across the Gaggin Bay, and we mountaineer across the mountains, and we boat through the swamp straight to Olkoff. They'll never see us coming.
Never see you coming, absolutely.
On elephants.
On elephants, there we go. You've got that right. All right, do you think the heist is going to take place as they planned? I certainly hope it does, because I can't wait to see what happens next. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye.